All right, here we are at the Knoxville Raceway for tonight's WORC iRacing Dirt Midget Series race. Tyson and Quentin Haley alongside here with the call for tonight's event. Tyson, you want to go ahead?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, World Online Racing Championship, the Dirt Midget Tour presented by Mr. Oceancm3882 on YouTube. Like Jay just introduced us here, got a little different crew up here tonight. Best wishes to Kevin and Soap Tires Broadcasting. Great guy. He's not going to be with us tonight. Hopefully he's okay. He'll be back soon, we hope. In the meantime, Tyson Gifford, Jay Mulder, Quentin Haley up in the booth. How are you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, we're doing great. We got some exciting racing ahead of us. We got a great booth up here. And I'm excited to fill in with the commentary. I know you guys are. Should be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, thanks Tyson, thanks Jay. I'm pretty excited to be here. This is a normal change-up. Usually I'm, in the session driving, but hoping to bring some of my real-life experience here tonight.
Now, Knoxville, a very legendary track. This is one of the tracks that if you're a dirt racer, you want to win Knoxville, and these guys are going to be going at it to try and get the victory here tonight, especially because we have an awesome championship battle going on right now. Maison Coffey is in the points lead with 586 points. Braison Collins second with 574. Braison gained 26 points in the last race, but the championship leader, Maison Coffey, he found himself in a little trouble. He's been suspended and will not participate today. Guys, what do you think of this one? I mean, we're going to see quite the battle to see if Braison Collins can take this points lead.
Yeah, Braison's got the perfect chance here to make up some points with Mason not being able to make this race. It's a little odd as a driver to be, given the opportunity to not have to race against the guy leading the championship. And Mason's really put himself in a position here where he stands to lose a lot.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for them. I mean, you pay the price, you take a penalty, and put yourself behind the 8-ball. And, I mean, Brayson's just got to get through tonight with a clean race, and he's got a lot to gain here and nothing to really lose. If he can get through tonight with a decent points finish even, it's going to be huge in the long run here as we close in on the final race.
But to your point, Jay, it's not going to be easy. I mean, we're talking about dirt midgets. These are 900-pound cars with about 400 horsepower. They're not easy to drive by any means. So, Braison's got a bit of an uphill battle tonight, just keeping the car clean.
Yeah, for sure. And we've already seen some guys go around here in practice and end up on top of their roll bar and flipping into the fence here. Hopefully we avoid a lot more of that tonight. But, I mean, it's inevitable with these cars, the way they're built.
The way they're built, the amount of horsepower they got. I mean, all it takes is one slip up from another driver or a slip up from yourself, and your night's pretty much over.
Checkered flag coming out for practice here as we finish up, and we'll lead into qualifying. Tyson, you got more for us?
Well, I think what you guys just said, you guys hit it right on the head with how it's easy to say on paper, yeah, Braison needs a good night to gain points. It's entirely possible that doesn't happen. It's entirely possible. Braison qualifies. Maybe he has a slip up in qualifying. Maybe he starts a little into the rear during the heat race, and maybe he gets caught up in some trouble, as we're going to focus on him right here during his warm-up lap. It's entirely possible. One slip up could lead to a whole slew of mistakes, and especially with these midgets being very hard to handle, it's possible that you could have a rough night if you don't have a good start to it.
So as we go around the track here with Braison Collins, kind of the keys for qualifying, you got to keep the car underneath you, obviously. But the difference between qualifying and a race is in qualifying, you just got to send it sometimes. You got to drive that thing to the max tether point. You got to keep it underneath you. You got to keep your tires from spinning. You got to keep it from wheel hopping. And most importantly, you got to keep that left front pretty much out of the ground. You want that thing up in the air. And you want to have a good drive off, a lot of your grip.
Yeah, you can see him really hanging that thing out on the high side. These guys are not messing around with that inside berm at all. They're running right up on that cushion there, which will move up as the night goes on, but Braison runs second with that lap. He's 3/10 off our current pole sitter right now, and Chris Brown. Let's have a look at his lap.
So you mentioned that inside line. I was watching during practice that some guys were just having a lot of trouble in their qualifying trims being able to keep it on the bottom lane. We saw a lot of people getting a little loosey-goosey and jumping in. Paul Granada was one of the guys that I saw just trying to use that bottom lane but not being able to do so. So that will be interesting. I don't know if that'll play a factor in today's race. Now it's Knoxville week, the WORC. This could be a prelude to what we see with the street stocks on Thursday night. So both street stocks and the dirt midgets will be here in Knoxville. Of course, we aren't racing the MX5s on dirt. That would be quite the entertaining show. We have plenty of action coming right up. And you mentioned Chris Brown back in the WORC for the first time in quite a while. He has the second most wins in series history with 7. He's bad fast. He's one to watch out for. The only multi-time WORC champion. I mean, we could see a lot of him out front, and him and Braison could have quite the battle if they are able to get going.
Yeah,
so you can see from our onboard camera, our driver is taking a lap here, and he seems to be running the slider line. So for those of you who aren't aware, the slider line, you enter low on the track, and about midway, you slide up towards the top. So with this line, you kind of just give yourself more of an arc out of the corner, and you're almost diamonding it, allowing you to carry more speed off the exit while still carrying a ton of entry speed.
That's now, Quentin, with your dirt track experience, that's really helpful in qualifying, but not so much during the race. Could we see people trying to use that line in the race if they're really trying to be aggressive, or will we see none of that during the race?
Well, these midgets have so much horsepower, and on the exit of the corner, you're going to be pulling about the same depending on how the track slicks up here and how much moisture it retains. So you're going to probably see a lot of drivers who are going for position trying to pull off a slider line. The key there is just to make sure you're clear on exit, because if you aren't, you're going to ruin not only your night, but somebody else's night.
And we've seen that a lot with this series. Guys get into each other, they touch wheels, and with the nature of these open wheel race cars, they bounce off each other, fly up in the air, flip over. Lots of contact, lots of torn up stuff really quickly in these cars, and not a lot of room for error in these things.
Yeah, with the slider line, you're just risking a whole lot to gain, in my opinion, very little, especially in a race, unless you really feel like you can clear the guy and the bottom's really digging. The slider line really never comes into the point where it's usable, especially in a midget here at a bigger track like Knoxville.
So another name to watch out for, Keith Hackerney. He's also making his return in the WORC. He is one to watch out for, and it's possible that we see some quick times from him throughout tonight's event. As qualifying still going on, I believe Chris Brown and Braison Collins still the guys atop the leaderboard unless something has changed.
We touched on it earlier. Braison Collins, I mean, he's really the only one contending right now with Mason for that P1 spot in the championship. But there's a lot of good drivers out there tonight, and it's not going to be easy for him tonight to score that many points.
You mentioned that Cameron McHorn is third in the points with 521. Ryan Matthew Martin fourth with 448. And then James Barrett Jr. and Paul Granada are tied with 413 points in fifth place. So quite the gap between second and third, as well as third and fourth. And James Barrett Jr. with 2 wins on the year would be looking for a third if he is entered in tonight's event. We've got Heat 1 coming at you. What's the starting lineup for tonight's event? First event, of course.
Let's have a look here. Actually, I do not believe that starting lineup is correct. Believe that's not correct. Is based off the qualifying order, but let's see if we can sort out what we got here. So Chris Brown won the pole here tonight. He'll start up front. Alongside will be Keith Hackney. driver to watch, obviously, and he ran really well in the Dirt Late Model Series that WORC put on recently. And then row 2 will have Henry Clappert. Alongside him will be Corey Boudinot. And then row 3 will have Cameron McCone and Caden Folkerts. And starting at the back will be the 54 of Timmy Spatz here in heat number 1.
Oh,
so heat races are generally shorter. So, Jay, what do you feel is going to be the key here to maintaining that pole position?
I think just being real aggressive, finding that tack, and just hanging on to that spot and not giving it up. And I think as the leader in these heat races, you control the start here as we get ready to go racing. He'll control the start and he'll fire off.
Here we go. Heat racing. Off we go. Green flag is out. We're underway for heat race number 1. Both Chris Brown and the driver that starts second alongside him sliding into turn number 1. They were side by side into the wall. It was Keith Hackerney. He went into the wall. They were side by side for the lead, but now Chris Brown has the outright lead coming to lap number 1 here, and it looks like there's about a quarter of a second gap between first and second place, with madness happening 3rd, 4th, 5th on the way through. So 1st, 2nd, and 3rd have quite a bit of gap as 4th and 5th are side by side.
And looking back here, we've got Henry Clappert, and oh my goodness, nearly 4 wide further back here. These guys are battling hard for these positions. Those transfer spots, all important. You want to transfer to that final race here tonight, that main event, and score the big points, the big money. And
Henry seems to be running a pretty defensive line here, just kind of keeping it middle, top, just trying to keep the guys behind him, really not pushing the issue with the guy in front of him. Really defensive play here. I think it's smart. He didn't really show all that much speed in qualifying, but just trying to hang on here and maintain the best position for the main event as he can.
You can see him connecting that right rear with the cushion there on entry and rotating twice through the corner there. Not quite a perfect line, and he's leaving the door open for the guys behind him, the 01 car getting closer to him, and he might have to battle wheel to wheel with some of these guys by the end of this thing.
So 1, 2, 3 breakaway, as it looks like. You've got, 1, 2, 3 breakaway right up front as Chris Brown has actually lost the lead to, now that is Keith Hackerney, who is in front. So we have a lead change up front with Hackerney in front, Chris Brown in second. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd with quite the gap to 4th place as we were just watching earlier. And you can definitely see, whoa, Hackerney gets way loose, bites the bottom of the track, as you mentioned earlier, nearly goes around, and that gives Chris Brown the lead once again. And Hackerney is going to be fighting with 3rd place. Oh my goodness, look at how quickly he makes that time back up. He is right back on Chris Brown.
Well, and that was...
Yeah, you can see him kind of enter along the slick, and you could see that he would try to enter below and then slide up about mid-corner, and he would get his right side tires on the slick. And that time when he spun out there, he's got too much of his rear tires on it and got really loose on him. It's really unfortunate, but that's kind of the risk you take when you start running that middle low line.
And back to the line.
He made that risk. Back to that line, you said he made that risk, but look how quickly he was able to get back to the front and came in second for heat race number 1. So Chris Brown takes home heat number 1. Heath comes home in second.
Yeah, that was a really clean race. Pretty tame. I don't really think we'll start to see many sparks flying until the feature, but they did a really good job keeping those cars straight and keeping it clean with the fellow competitors. We're
going to set up another look here before we get underway in this next race here at Chris Brown, that contact there that he got involved in. So we bring it around here. We see Keith Hackney leading them off into turn 1 and just bites too much of that inside berm. They get together, luckily hitting only the right rear there, and Chris Brown gets away with minimal, if any, damage right there.
Very lucky there, and you can see Brown right through this corner. He was able to bite back through and try to get the lead back. And really impressive driving by these guys, as you could see. That was the white flag there. So an unfortunate mistake costing Keith the first place finish, but he was able to keep it in second. So still pretty solid result. We're going to take a look for heat race number 2, Braison Collins on the pole. Jay, let's give a full field rundown for this one.
Yeah, we got sorry, my stuff's having issues updating over here as the heat races it's having issues with, but I'm not sure who the 87 car is, but alongside him will be Braison Collins, and then on the second row we have
low in the 87, I believe.
There we go. And then row 2 we've got Blake Kennedy and Paul Granada. Row 3 Christian Visconti, Ryan Martin, and then starting out back is Bo Krebs in the 168. Star-studded field here. Let's see what we get.
Green flag.
Very, very combobulated start there as Braison Collins doesn't get the jump that he wanted, but he's going to try to wing it around this outside lane, get the run through the corner, and he is going to take first place away, and they are battling pretty hard. 3 wide there for last position with Braison Collins and the 87 of Haslow battling for first place. We are all through the field, very tight, very clean racing so far, but these guys are battling hard, especially for first place on through the field.
Yeah, Braison's doing an excellent job of doing what he needs to do right now, just running the high line. You know you're going to have momentum on the exit of the corner. And really, I mean, there's not much else he can do here. He's got his competition running a middle line, trying to look like he might peak and slide up there, but he keeps it to the bottom.
Ooh, contact.
Little contact there. Braison keeping it straight, keeping it up top. Gonna have a big run here out of turn 2.
That was a great run, and he is going to have the outright lead of the corner on lap 4 of 8.
I'm surprised that Hackney hasn't moved up into the top group. I mean, he sees what Braison's doing up there. He sees the runs he's kind of getting, and you know, running that middle line, especially right there in the slick, it doesn't really seem like it's working for him very well. So interesting that he's going to maintain running kind of that middle groove.
Well, I mean,
Christian,
though we can see down there's some tack that you can get your tires into, get some grip. That top seems to be the dominant lane so far.
we got quite the battle for second, third, and fourth right here. Nearly contact, getting way loose out of the corner. That was the 75, I believe, of Kennedy.
Yes, it is. And then we've got Christian up in the wall with Ryan Martin. More contact there.
Very interesting. Christian Visconti was actually last place for, by a comfortable margin. He just did not get the good start, and now really making contact, I believe, through the middle of turn 2. And these guys are pretty spread out now after being very close together to start the race.
Yeah, Braison looks like he's got himself a pretty comfortable lead, still running the top. You can kind of see the track starting to take on more rubber. It's going to slick off, slow the cars down a bit. Braison just maintaining that line, keeping it smooth, keeping it steady, keeping it clean. And as we touched on earlier in the broadcast, that's really what he needs tonight. Just keep it straight. Put yourself in a good position for the future.
Coming out of the final corner, we had the white flag fly. This will be the final lap. Braison Collins brings it home, and he wins heat race number 2. And contact after the line.
And
Lots of people. Christian Visconti, I believe, stole 4th place coming to the line.
a dramatic finish right there as we see guys just piling into that wall. We know the line being more toward the turn 1 side of the front stretch. I mean, guys might be trying to push it a little harder entering that corner since they won't have to make the corner to continue on. As we get into our warm-up here prior to the start of this race. Let's get a look at the on-track action here.
Yeah, so this warm-up period is going to be very important for these drivers just to get a feel of how the track's really developing as the sun goes down and more rubber's laid down.
Well, and we know that high lane's been dominant all night so far, and maybe someone will have more of an opportunity right now to maybe take these 2 minutes of time and drive down on the bottom, get their left sides around that tacky area, and maybe find some speed down there that they can use in the actual main event.
And it'll especially be key for some of these guys who barely made it in or were struggling through the heat races and then got in. I believe this will be a perfect opportunity for them to be, okay, we saw what worked, we know what doesn't work, let's see if our midget is able to handle it through the corners and maybe adjust a tiny bit of the setup if necessary.
And as of now, we're seeing Keith Hackney take top of the board in the lap time department. Not huge news here. I mean, he's obviously fast. He competed closely with Chris Brown in the heat race. And, I mean, obviously the lap times in this session are, you take them with a grain of salt. Guys are going to be trying stuff out here. But we'll see if he can carry that speed into the main event tonight.
So unlike a sprint car, a dirt midget doesn't have a big wing to rely on downforce for. So the key to driving these is all in your throttle control and just making sure you're not spinning your tires more than you need to on exit, making sure you get a good entry. We saw Henry Clapper kind of struggle. He would have to take a double set. He would, get it set into the corner. You'd straighten back out about mid-entry and then have to take another set into the corner. And that's just going to slow your lap time down. So hopefully you can take this warm-up period and find a little of what he's missing, see if his crew can get that car working for him.
Have a look at Christian Visconti here, running off of turn 4. He's third on the board right now. And, hard impact right there. Getting hit by Blake Kennedy. Not sure what's going on there. He falls to 4th on the board now.
Hopefully that was just a car issue and his team can work on that and make sure that doesn't happen in the future. It's better to iron out those issues prior to the main event.
Especially so, that will be really key if, the issues that, like I mentioned earlier, the issues that you had maybe during the heat race, if you're able to iron them out, get them smoothed out during this practice, during this warm-up session, that is going to be probably the best thing that you can do as a driver to ensure that you can get the win. And we've got plenty of experienced drivers as well as plenty of very fast guys that will be in this race. We have Keith Hackney, he's in this. Braison Collins, he's also in this. Like I said, like we mentioned, Chris Brown taking his first WORC start in quite a while. We've got quite the star-studded field. And look out for Christian Visconti. I feel like he had a rough start to his heat in heat number 2, but I believe that it's possible that we can see him work his way through the field and try to play spoiler in the main event.
Let's have a look at our starting grid here. I believe it'll be correct this time around. It does appear to be working correctly. Possibly.
All right. Chris Brown is going to be your leader for the first one, with Coy Haslow starting in second. Keith Hackney will be third.
Hang on, actually. It is incorrect as it doesn't handle the invert very well. We actually have Bo Krebs starting up front here. Let's get this sorted out. Alright, Bo Krebs starting up front. Alongside him will be Corey Bowdeno. Then in row 2 we'll have Coy Haslow and Keith Hackney, of course. In row 3 we'll have Braison Collins and Chris Brown, two of the fastest guys around here, and obviously they'll have to fight back with the invert going on. Then we'll have Henry Clapper and Paul Granada in row 4, two guys that have been known to get into it every now and again. Then row 5 we have Caden Folkerts and Christian Visconti, two guys as well, very fast. And row 6 we'll have Cam McCone and Blake Kennedy. And row 7, rounding our field, will be Timmy Spatz and Ryan Martin.
As you see the fireworks going off here at Knoxville, they're all about their pageantry. They're all about the pomp and circumstance. And this is a big night for a lot of these drivers. Probably one of their best chances to get a win here. Braison Collins obviously fighting for that championship win. It'll
0 wins on the year for that 5 car. Just a little note.
I think one of the keys to this race is just going to be keeping your tire from falling apart as we the pace truck pulls off and we take the green flag.
Green
Krebs.
flag is out. Krebs and Boudinot into turn 1. We had a very interesting start. The 34 just did not get going, and that's going to get Krebs the all-out lead. 3 wide for second place. That 34 is falling way
And
down
Chris
into
Brown!
the wall already.
That's Chris Brown around and up in the air. First caution of the night right there. Oh my goodness. The fastest car all night. Chris Brown gets in the wall and up in the air. Hopefully he doesn't have any wheel damage or anything substantial there, but you hate to see that for that team.
Henry Clappert was very slow, got up into him, down the back straightaway, got a little loose, and that's what happens. Look at that air time.
We'll get another look at this from up above here as we pull up the WORC replay. Have a look from high above, and we'll get another look at this right here. So they come flying off turn number 2.
The 34 started on the front row, little wheel-to-wheel contact. The right rear wheel touched the left front wheel of Chris Brown. Up, got him discombobulated up and into the cushion, and that sent him into the wall. And airtime for the fastest car on the field.
And it looks to be a little trouble for Braison Collins as he went a lap down. I believe he flipped on the front stretch. That's not what he wanted to see tonight. You know, tonight was supposed to be his night to make up some points. And being in pit lane now, getting his car worked on, is just not what you want to see.
Yeah,
Could we
not
possibly see what happened if we're able to?
Yeah, we'll have to go back and have a look here real quick. Not sure how much time we have until we get back underway, of course. Get the replay going, and it would appear he's gotten flipped over here at some point. So we have...
So you can see another wreck behind them with Christian Visconti and some other drivers. And then as they were getting back to the Pace truck...
Oh, contact with... Oh, that's not Clappert. That's the 034. And that is not good news for Braison.
Yeah, you just hate to see that. I mean, the caution flag had flown. There was really no reason for them to be that close together. It's just really unfortunate for Braison Collins. And tonight was really supposed to be his night. I mean, we've touched on that multiple times.
Oh, and another crash right there. Caution back out. Sorry about that. Sorry to interrupt right there.
Green had flown, and then the caution comes back out quickly. You know, you'll have that. Knoxville's more of a faster track for these midgets, and just seems like a lot of guys are having trouble keeping it underneath them tonight.
Let's see if we can get a look at that. We did come back to the green a little late there after having a look at what happened to Braison, but let's see what happened here. These guys get going, and looks like we had some contact in 1 and 2. So we have a look at it. Bo Krebs leading us, of course.
And it looks like that guy, he sent it into the corner, and
that was Keith Hackney right there that sent it in there.
Keith Hackney. All right, so Hackney sent it in, slid it into Bo Krebs, and went up and over. And that'll happen with drivers being way too aggressive. We definitely will see that in this main event. I've certainly seen it when watching these guys, and just went too aggressive, sliding up and into them, and that's what brings out the yellow on lap 7 of 30 for tonight's 30-lap feature.
And yeah, you hit it on the head. We're only on lap 7 here. We've had 2 cautions out of a 30-lap race. I mean, these are aggressive moves being pulled early. I don't know if they feel like they need the track position now and are worried about, you know, the track taking rubber and just kind of what lines might develop over the night. But it's really interesting to see such aggressive driving so early. It's uncommon.
Yeah, and we really hate to see these guys already out of contention, essentially. Paul Granada, Cam McCone, Braison Collins, of course, 4 laps down now, and Henry Clappert, all out of contention here tonight after some early wrecks, knocking them out. And, I mean, this race has already become a race of attrition. We've seen Hackney, Martin, and even Blake Kennedy get involved. They're luckily still on the track with us, but, you know, gotta avoid the wrecks. Be there at the end, first of all.
Ace truck pulls in. We're going to be restarting on lap 8 of 30. Here we go. Green flag back out. Krebs and Haslow leading back to the green, and I believe the guy that was in 3rd had a very rough start. I believe that was Boudinot again. Chris Brown is back in 4th. There he is, making a move into 3rd place. Haslow is going to slide up the high side, and Chris Brown, look at him go on that bottom lane. He's going to make a move for second, try to go for the 2-for-1 deal in one lap.
Yeah, Chris Brown has seemed to be the guy to find that grip on the inside. He's been able to keep that left front right down there, and he's been making time. He's coming back after that early contact.
Well, I think it's entirely possible that that contact didn't affect... I mean, there might be some effect to his car, of course, but I don't think it is affecting him. He is racing as fast as he was during his heat session, and he is closing in on Bo Krebs for that first place position. As the first 4 drivers have broken away from the last 4 drivers, 4 or 5 or 6 drivers on the track, and it is a clear gap between the talent here so far.
Chris Brown is definitely a guy who knows his dirt racing. He's been one of the most winning, or one of the winningest drivers here in the World Online Racing Championship, especially in the dirt side of things, where he's gotten a lot of wins in the dirt late models, as well as, I believe he even ran incredibly well in the dirt truck race here at Knoxville, as he makes a move on Krebs right there. Gets up on the berm.
And he catches a little bit of that inside berm. It's just going to upset the car. You're going to have to lift out of the throttle, and you're not going to have that good run off the exit as you see Boudinot trying to take away P2 from him.
And Brown is going to go right back up to the high side to try to get that momentum back that he lost. And Boudinot is in second place. Krebs comfortably in first place. And on lap, I believe that's 16. We're on 16 of 30. We've still got plenty of time, especially with this green flag run that we've got going on. Drivers are settling into their cars. We're going to see people try to work their way through the field. I think Brown knows he's got time to get up to Krebs. We're on 15 of 30, not 16 of 30. That's my apologies.
Yeah, we're just crossing that halfway point, and I mean, the field inver's really given a huge advantage to Bo Krebs. He's led every lap thus far, and I mean, Chris Brown has the invert to blame for his shortcoming early on. So these guys are sending it off into turn 1.
Yeah, Boudinot keeps trying to peek on the inside of Bo Krebs there, and they're both running the bottom line, so I really don't see an opening being available for Boudinot to take. It's interesting that the bottom has developed as it has. I personally thought the top was going to come in a lot quicker than the bottom did, but I have been proven wrong here tonight.
And we see Hackney getting knocked all over that berm. Having a lot of Chris Brown.
Really sent it in on the bottom. And we got 4 cars all right together here for this front pack. And Boudinot, after having a rough start, of course, pretty much causing the first incident, here comes Chris Brown sliding it through, trying to diamond that corner. I mean, he's
going to lose third place here.
It's right on board with Brown here as we see him run that high side, trying to get around Bo Krebs here, working that high lane rail on that cushion. See what he does off into turn 1. He's going to slide all the way up in that tack up top, and let's see what he can do off the exit. He's going to have that run.
We thought Brown was going to lose third place. Now he's up to second, fighting with Krebs. There he goes. On that high side, it's going to be top versus bottom. Who will get the momentum off the corner? We're on lap 19 of 30 here at Knoxville.
We see Hackney also trying to get involved in this fight here as we close in on 10 to go. He's been right with these guys, maybe being that dog under the table waiting for some food to drop. There he is!
Whoa,
he gets into Krebs!
Spins it around. Is he able to keep going?
Caution out! Contact there, Visconti as well. Piling in.
Multiple cars collected after Chris Hackney spins out.
And he's going to have trouble.
To see it.
And he's going to reset that car, tow it back to pit road. You hate to see that for those guys as he was trying to get turned right, but these things very much struggle turning to the right. They're made to turn left. And he couldn't get that thing turned back around. That'll take him out of contention for the win tonight.
Keith Hackney, as we mentioned earlier, making his return to the WORC, another driver that was excited to be back in the seat, and unfortunately being taken out. And I'd say he bit that lip too hard, and whoa, Krebs getting up in the way of Braison Collins there.
Let's have a WORC replay here. Bring that back up with the contact there. that knocked Keith Hackney out of contention. We saw him, he was making ground, he was staying competitive here, and that is really going to hurt him.
Who else it's going to hurt? I think that's going to hurt the momentum of Chris Brown as well, who was charging on that high lane and was going to try to take that lead.
Let's get a look.
Well, here's
here.
a look.
Play this thing back.
So we can watch how, but he's all the way on the bottom, sending it in, and then spins it around and tries to get it back going. Oh,
Yeah.
Boudinot gets right into him as well as Visconti. Boudinot is able to keep going, surprisingly, as well as Visconti is there, third and fourth right now. And that's just sending it in too hard, and that is the risk that you take when doing so, don't you think, guys?
For sure, as we get back to racing here, I'm not sure what happened to Beau Krebs. He's been filed further back in the field. Not quite sure. He might have gotten a penalty from the in-race administration, but that'll put him way behind as now the battle is on between Brown and Boudinot.
Brown, Boudinot, Visconti, as I mentioned earlier, Visconti could try to steal this win away, but it's going to be tough to snatch it away from Chris Brown in his return. Lap 25 of 30. He's got Boudinot right on him, as well as Ryan Martin in fourth place. He could be a factor to try and steal the win away.
Brown getting all over that inside berm, and he's going to lead him back to 5 to go at the line.
Hey, Chris Brown
5 laps to go.
Chris Brown's really running the. Sorry. Chris Brown is really running the low line right now, just trying to protect against Boudinot from getting underneath him. The moment that Chris Brown shows some weakness, though, and shows that inside, I think Boudinot will be there to pounce.
And these
probably
two,
take away P1.
These two have been head and shoulders over the field all night long, along with Keith Hackney prior to him getting taken out. Or him having that contact, of course. So we close in on 3 to go. These two continuing to battle. I think Chris Brown is pulling out his lead a little bit.
And a little bit of a side note is we've got a little battle for the third place going on. Braison Collins in 9th place. He is 3 laps down, but he is staying on track and getting some valuable points. He is lugging it around with 3 laps to go here. Chris Brown, Boudinot. Boudinot drops down to 0.4 of a second behind Chris Brown. 2 laps to go at the stripe for these guys. A little wiggle from Boudinot as he's going to drop down to 0.7 of a second back.
The one big thing to note is these cars are hard enough to drive to where, you might be out front by half a second or 2 seconds, but you can never really stretch your legs. You're always fighting the car as well as the guys around you as they come back to the white flag, Chris Brown. And caution is out, actually. Caution will wave, and that will be a green-white checkered. Let's see if we can figure out what caused that here.
I know that Boudinot is very happy inside of that midget. I don't think he was going to catch Chris Brown in a lap, but this caution and this green-white checker is going to give him every opportunity.
Not seeing any indication.
I could tell Boudinot was just cruising there. Boudinot was 0.6 of a second, and it dropped down to about 0.4 once again. But Brown was just keeping it calm and cool and collected out front and hoping that he could cruise to a win. But it turns out we're gonna have a green-white checkered here, guys. This is gonna be certainly interesting. Do we think it's Visconti? I think something might have happened with him.
Yeah, it looks like Visconti got too heavy in that third turn here at Knoxville in that slick, and it just comes around on him. These things are tough to drive, and yeah, he gets spun around, gets a shape in the middle of the track. I'm not sure if that's for sure what brought it out. Could have been a crash somewhere else. We're not able to find anything right now. I believe that's what brought it out, though, is that spin.
Yeah, it looked like Visconti just entered the corner. The tires, he entered, he took a set, then the tire just kind of gripped up and he got tight. And then when he got tight, he just tried to give it more steering input. And then it just got really loose on him and spun him out a bit. I'm surprised the caution came out for that, though, especially considering he got it rolling again.
We
Chris
line
Brown,
it up.
Boudinot, Ryan Martin, Beau Krebs. That's your top 4 going back. Could we see a win stolen? Guys, this is going to be a very interesting final 2 laps.
I gotta say, I'm on the edge of my seat as Chris Brown will have control of the restart here. And he's going to fire off quickly, and he's going to stretch that lead out, hoping to hang on to it. 2 to go.
Bo Krebs goes underneath Ryan Martin into third place, and here comes Bo Krebs back in. Oh, look at him on the top side.
That's Ryan Martin up there.
Ryan Martin slides into second. Could Ryan Martin try to steal this win away? Coming to 1 lap to go. Chris Brown, Boudinot, Ryan Martin, Bo Krebs, all fighting for this win.
Chris
Here
Brown
comes.
hanging on to this thing. Ryan Martin charged up, but nobody gonna have anything for Chris Brown here. Just gotta negotiate this final corner.
Half a second lead. Chris Brown, in his return to the WORC, wins it here at Knoxville for his 8th career win in the World Online Racing Championship, winning. It was an amazing race in the Knoxville Classic.
And just an incredible win for Chris Brown. He obviously won the pole. It was the guy beat all night long, obviously, as well, the winningest driver on dirt for WORC, I believe. So, you know, he's the guy beat coming in, and when he showed up, I feel like everyone saw him as the Kyle Busch here. He was going to be the guy that they'd have to get through. Nobody gets through him tonight, though, and he'll take home the win. Tonight's Knoxville Classic.
And he had every obstacle thrown in his way. Yeah, Chris Brown had every obstacle thrown in his way, multiple cautions, and he just put on a masterful display on those restarts. And really, I think he caught a lot of guys sleeping, and that just paid off dividends, maintaining that gap between second and third, especially on that last restart there.
All right, we're going to do a quick commercial break, get the guys down in the interview pen, and we'll get a chance to talk to them as Chris Brown going to try and pull that thing in the Knoxville victory lane. Not going to be successful, but that's all right. He's victorious tonight. We'll be back in a moment. And as we bring it back here, we're going to get ourselves ready for some interviews. We'll have Chris Brown coming up first here.
Chris Brown, this is Tyson Gifford up in the WORC booth. Winner here. Do you copy? Looks like no copy from Chris Brown.
He went back out there. Not sure what's going on with that. Try and get him back in here. Hey, Chris Brown,
Hey,
you're
Chris.
up in the booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, good race for you tonight. You had every obstacle thrown at you, like my partner Quentin mentioned, and you still came out on top. That invert put you behind the 8 ball, but you still managed to fight your way through after winning the pole. How'd you do it tonight?
I think there's a little bit of luck. I got wrecked there on the first lap and wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to continue, but the car was straight. The wheel was still straight, so I just kept driving it, and it turned out pretty good for me.
Yeah, for sure. We thought that damage might have taken you out of contention, but you managed to fight your way through it. You made a lot of passes tonight, and we saw a lot of action. Who was your closest rival out there tonight?
I really thought Hackney was going to be up there with me. It's unfortunate that he got taken out as well. It would have been I think it would have been a pretty good race between us. Corey was pretty fast as well, so I would say Keith, though. I thought he was going to be up there with me.
And I'd like to pass over to my partner Tyson and Quentin. Do you guys have anything you want to say?
Chris, you were probably one of the fastest guys out there tonight, and mentioned it was just a little bit of luck. Your 8th career win in the WORC in your return. What does this mean to you? How special is it to get your win as you continue to etch your name on the WORC leaderboard as one of the winningest drivers in history?
It's pretty awesome. I've been gone since April. I haven't been on iRacing at all since April. This is my very first league race back. Built a house and had a kid, so pretty excited to be able to come back and win my first race back.
Well, congratulations on the kid, Chris. I have a question for you. So you saw Ryan Martin work in the top lane there on that final restart. Was there any point in time during those final couple laps where you thought you should move up to the top? I mean, you kept it to the bottom pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, I was paying attention to him back there. He looked pretty quick for the first lap after that restart, and then he kind of started fading back, so I really didn't worry about changing my line, but definitely was paying attention to him. If I would have saw him moving up a little bit more, I probably would have changed my line a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. You were the best at working the bottom all night, and I think that's really what came in handy for you on your way of victory tonight. You have anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, thank my wife and her mom for letting me do this. She's visiting, so thank them for doing that. My buddy Bernd is here as well. Thank him for letting me come race tonight.
That's awesome, man. Well, you have a good night, and we hope to see you again in the future.
All right, thanks.
That was Chris Brown, driver of the number 1 car, drove to victory tonight. Incredible run from him, as we'll move on to our second place finisher here. And Tyson, you'll have this one.
Ari, this is Tyson up here in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes.
Well, that was some pretty interesting racing that you had going on up front. I mean, you had not the best start, but you were able to whip it back out and get up to second place, nearly stealing that win. How was that race out there for you?
I don't know. I ain't good in these midget cars.
Well, for not being very good in them, as you say, you put on a heck of a show, and it looked like you almost had something there for our winner. Was there any point there where you thought you might have a little chance there, maybe on that last caution?
Yeah, that last restart, I thought I might have been able to lunge it in on the bottom and get him there, but oh well.
Oh, a very valiant effort there for you, Mr. Corey. I mean, you certainly played quite the hand in tonight's event, and really at second place you were able to command that pretty much the entire night. When you saw Ryan Martin coming up there on the high side, was there any thought for you to move up to the high side? I mean, you were pretty content on staying on the bottom throughout the whole race. What was your thought process there on that final green-white checkered?
I didn't even see Ryan up there. I just knew to hold on to the bottom.
All right. Well, that was a good run for you tonight here at Knoxville. And before we let you go, you have anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, sponsors of Random Designs Paint Services, Beadworks, Fonseca Miller Racing, Sim Racing Media, OSR Network, and Save Stock Car Racing.
All right. Thank you for coming out tonight. We hope to see you going forward. We hope you have a great night. Congrats on P2.
Thanks.
And then we'll bring our third place finisher, Ryan Martin, up here in the booth. Hey, Ryan, you got a copy, man.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Get you pulled up here. Well, you almost came out of nowhere there. You ran mid-pack. I mean, you didn't start perfectly either, but late in that race, it seemed you figured out that cushion right up there, that top line. You came through the field and nearly had a shot there at Chris Brown at the end. He saw you out back in his mirror, and you had them nervous, but not quite there. It's still a third place finish tonight. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Once we got through it, everybody got through the restarts, it would spread out, and a lot of people would try to run either a little low or a little high and just get a little too hard, but right on the edge where the cushion was pretty good most of the race.
And you were the only one up there riding that top lane on the final few laps. And I think if you had a few more laps, I believe that you could have pulled it off. Like you said, we're just trying to run a different line. I mean, throughout the race, there was quite some action going on, especially with people sending it a little too hard in. What was your thought process like throughout the race as how the track was rubbering up and how you were gonna try to get back up through there?
Honestly, most of the race after that first, because got involved in that first incident, I had it full brake and still slid into it. I was just going to try to stay out of the way because I feared I had damage. And then I tried to flip Braison back over, which didn't help. So I was honestly just trying to stay out of the way, and the high line started to work.
Quentin, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, that top really came in there, especially on that final restart. Was there any moment in time where you thought you might have the lead?
Yeah, that first lap I thought I could at least try for second, but just those guys were too good on the bottom.
Yeah, for sure. You ran a great race tonight. I mean, you managed to avoid most of the carnage and be there at the end, and that's really a big thing in this series. It's just being there at the end. If you can be there at the end, give yourself a shot with a clean car. You could be sitting in victory lane at the end of the night. So overall, great race for you, Ryan. Do you have anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Just my friends and family that come out and watch.
That's awesome. Well, congrats on P3. We hope you have a great night, and awesome to see you continue to come out. Most starts in the WORC league here, so we enjoy seeing you come out and racing with you.
Thank you.
And we'll have one more interview, I believe, from Braison Collins, choice of our good partner Quentin Haley up here in the booth. Let's drag him up.
Braison Collins, do you have a copy?
I do.
So Braison, tonight really wasn't your night, and we touched on it in our broadcast. A lot of people thought you had a great opportunity tonight to gain some points on the championship leader. What went wrong for you tonight?
Well, unfortunately, the guy who, one of my drivers of the team I own, caused a caution there on the backstretch on lap 1, and unfortunately, Corey was coming down the track. I was kind of there, and unfortunately, when you do online racing, no matter what happens, you're going to have netcode, and unfortunately, netcode giveth and netcode taketh, and netcode decided to taketh my top 5 away early on, and I got clipped by Corey because of netcode, and it flipped me over because this is a midget. You had 19 gallons loaded into these things, so the weight just topples it over. And so, fortunately, we ended up getting flipped over there. Tried to have some help from Ryan Martin and Christian Visconti getting flipped over. They tried to help me, but unfortunately, didn't quite work out that way. So we started the night on the pits, or in the pits, excuse me. But we were able to work our way through there. Get ourselves up into the top 10, so things looked a little bit better there at the end for the point stuff. But yeah, it just really sucks. I mean, I qualified pretty decently, a P4 I think, and then for us to go out there and win the heat, that was pretty good. I enjoyed running up front like that. I felt really competitive, and then to start top 5, have that early wreck, but I felt good on the bottom there to start the race. Just netcode taketh, and kind of hurt me for the rest of the race, but I was lucky that we had a few cautions, was able to get a few lucky dogs, a few guys wrecked out, and I was able to climb back into the top 10, at least gain some points here.
So moving forward this week, do you feel like you're still in the championship fight? Are you worried at all that maybe tonight kind of put you on the back step here?
Definitely with the last 2 races, I gained quite a bit of points tonight, I think. I definitely should have taken the points lead, but Mason, he's definitely a guy who hovers around the top 5, so I was really hoping for a top 5, kind of keep myself up there points wise. But unfortunately, like I said, I mean, netcode just did its thing, and it happened to be the one race where I could have really gained a lot on Mason in the point standings, and other people too. Luckily, Some of the other guys that I'm racing with had issues too. Cameron McHone, he got wrecked out early on and wasn't able to continue. Unfortunately, though, because another guy competing for that championship, Brian Martin, he got a podium, so he definitely gained some points on me tonight. Overall, though, I feel like I'm in a good position to fight for this championship with the last 2 weeks left. It's been a good fight all season. Lots of different guys up there fighting for it, but it's kind of centered down to Mason, myself, Ryan, Cameron, those guys who've been here every week. So it's going to be pretty crucial for me to finish well next week at Kokomo and to put something together at the Chili Bowl in order to maintain this points lead and take home a championship.
Well, that championship battle certainly will be interesting, and I believe it's just going to come down to who was the most consistent throughout the season. Luckily, you were able to get that top 10, get the benefit of the lucky dogs. Anybody you'd like to thank out there, Braison? I mean, there's quite a few people that are certainly loving to hear your word.
Yeah, I obviously the sponsors on the car, EVC Automotive, that's my family's automotive shop. Family owned all that stuff. Dark Horse Racing, team owner Justin Haley, my teammates Quentin, Kaz, Ryan. Got a good team thing going on over there. And in the other league I run, things aren't looking too good for me for the team. So I'm glad I can try to help carry the team over here on the WORC side of things and hopefully bring a championship home for Dark Horse. I got to thank Belfour Property Restoration, JP Designs, Bluejay Designs, Limeade Media. I can never think of all my sponsors. I think that's pretty much it for that stuff. Thank you guys for coming in a little last minute to come broadcast. Hopefully Soak Tires Broadcasting can pick it back up and we can get things going again there. And hopefully we can get a little bit better car count next week at Kokomo. It's supposed to be one of our big races, and with 2 races left in the season, hoping that car count picks back up where it was at the start of the season and we can have a great finish to the end of this one. So yeah, thanks to all the other drivers who came out tonight. Love Knoxville, and hopefully we can put on a even better show in the street stocks on Thursday here.
All right, thank you, Braison, and congrats on the P9. Obviously, looking for more tonight, but you take what you can get.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so that'll do it for the interview session there as we will have a look ahead. Going forward, we have our finishing order coming up here. Chris Brown obviously took home the victory tonight in the number 1 car. The guy beat all night long and he gets it done. And then second, we have Corey Boudinot. Third, we'll have Ryan Martin. Fourth is Bo Krebs. Fifth was Dan Volkerts. Sixth was Timmy Spatz. Seventh was Blake Kennedy. 8th was Christian Visconti, and then multiple laps down in 9th is Braison Collins. And then of our DNFs, we have Keith Hackney in 10th, Coy Hasselou in 11th, Cameron McCone in 12th, Paul Grenat in 13th, and Henry Clapper in 14th, who did not start the event here tonight at Knoxville. So that pretty much does it here from us at Knoxville. Great race tonight from my partners, Quentin, Tyson, up in the booth. We had a great time watching tonight's race and putting on the show for you guys tonight. So we're looking forward to next week at Kokomo. Hopefully Soak Tires can be back for that. We hope he's doing well as well. So that does it from myself. Tyson, Quentin, if you guys have anything to say.
Yeah, I mean, Braison summed it up perfectly. He said that he hoped that get a fun race to broadcast, and I certainly had a blast up here with you guys. That was probably some of the most fun I've ever had broadcasting a race. And hopefully we get Soak Tires back, but I would love to do it with you 3 again, and it was certainly a night to remember here up in the booth.
I just want to say thank you for having us. We appreciate you tuning in, and we look forward to many opportunities moving forward.
For sure. So that does it from us up here in the booth. We hope to see you again on WORC TV for the next race broadcast, whenever that may be. Have a good night, everyone.